and welcome back to Bold Life. I am your host, Zayna Allen. We have a great socially distanced show for you today. Make sure to wash your hands and share your thoughts in the comment section below. We want to know what you think. So our first guest today is global education philanthropist, world-renowned brain performance specialist, and author of groundbreaking book, Limitless. Please welcome Jim Kwik. Hi, Jim.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you everyone who's watching.
Of course. So Jim, everybody's stuck at home right now. So can you tell us a little bit about what we can do to stay productive while we're cocooning?
Absolutely. So the metaphor of a cocoon and metamorphosis, I think we're going through a life cycle right now. We want to come out a butterfly, right? We want to come out smarter. We want to come out stronger. So how do you do that? I'll give everyone 5 C's really fast because my last name really is Kwik. First C, I would say clarity. You know, when we're alone, you're usually alone with your doubts, your fears, your concerns, and maybe you feel alone. One of the things you could do is this reset, is this pause, is solitude gives you time to self-reflect about your life, what's most important to you, what's most important to you in your relationships, what's most important to you in your career, and just to have that pause. Sometimes when we're going 90 miles an hour, we can't stop and just like, hey, you know, are my actions aligned with the things that are most important to me in my life? So it's kind of like a reset. Second C, besides clarity, is care. Right now, you know, while we know, you mentioned like we're physically distancing ourselves, we know physical hygiene, washing your hands, sanitizing everything, but what about mental hygiene? And so important right now because one of the challenges is our brain primarily, it gets hijacked sometimes and it just watches all the bad stuff all the time. And if you find yourself doing that, the challenge is chronic stress shrinks your brain, and chronic fear actually compromises your immune system and makes you more susceptible to viruses, to colds and flus. And so what can you do for self-care? So in the book, I talk about the best brain foods. I talk about how to optimize your sleep, you know, meditation practices, all those good things. And number 3, after you have clarity and care, I would say contribution. If you're feeling anxiety and fear right now, one of the best ways to get out of fear is to focus on somebody else. You know, how can you use your time or your talent or a little bit of your treasure to make a difference, you know? And it could be just like FaceTiming a neighbor down the hall, you know what I mean? And just that, you know, they're a little bit older and they could use some help and some connections. So how can you uniquely contribute? For us on Instagram, we're doing free speed reading classes. We're doing student success programs completely live and free just because we know a lot of schools are out of, you know, and so we want to teach people how to recession-proof their brains. So we are doing that to contribute, but find your unique way. And after contribution, I would say creativity. I mean, wow, did you know that it was during the Great Plague that Shakespeare created Macbeth and,
wow.
and Antony and Cleopatra? And he was socially distancing himself. It was during the plague of London when they closed the university down that Isaac Newton had to go home. That sounds familiar, right? He had to go home, and when he was sitting underneath the tree in his yard, the apple fell onto his head, and he came up with the theory of gravity and the theories of motion. So what can we create? What have you always wanted to write? Music, poetry, a book, you know, videos, TikTok, whatever you want to be able to create, right? And this could be some of the most productive times of your life. And then also, I would say the last C is capabilities, meaning what have you always wanted to learn? You have a to learn list. You know, do you have a to learn list? Like, what do you want to read? You know, right now we have unfettered access to everything on the planet. We can learn Spanish on YouTube. We can, you know, we published the #1 education training podcast on how to remember names, how to learn languages, how to change your habits, you know, and like, but what can you learn at this time? And because I don't think we should be downgrading our dreams to fit this current situation. I think we have to be upgrading our skills to be able to meet our destiny. And
Absolutely.
those are the 5 C's to cocooning.
Absolutely. I love that. So I gotta make sure after this I'm gonna write those down because I definitely need that. So Jim, let's talk about your book Limitless briefly. So I do believe that Will Smith was one of the men that he wrote your cover quote.
He did. Yeah, there's on the cover here from Will, and people could see it at limitlessbook.com. It says, Jim Kwik knows how to get the maximum out of me as a human being. But we have some amazing individuals supporting this book, you know, the top Alzheimer's doctor in the world, top tennis player in the world, you know, all these amazing actors and actresses. I help actors speed read scripts, memorize their lines, be focused on set. And Limitless is not about being perfect. It's the subtitle is Upgrade Your Brain, Learn Anything Faster, and Unlock Your Exceptional Life. And I believe everybody has the ability to unlock an exceptional life for themselves. And I opened the book with this quote. You'll like this. It's from a French philosopher, says, life is the C between the B and the D. Life is C between B and D.
Well, so you like the letter C. I think that's your thing.
I do very much. B stands for birth, D stands for death, and C, life, stands for choice. That I believe that these difficult times that we're experiencing, difficult times, they could define us, or these difficult times, they could diminish us, or these difficult times can develop us. We decide. And it's, while the beauty is in the butterfly that we're talking about, the growth happens in the cocoon. It's the struggle for that butterfly to come out of the cocoon that builds its wings strong, so then it could soar to new heights. And the book really is a book. It teaches speed reading, memory enhancement, focus, concentration, how to change your habits, the best brain foods, everything you need to know. It's an owner's manual for your brain, because your brain controls everything. And it's so important right now when all of us have to rethink our careers, and we have to learn new skills and learn new subjects. And we teach people how to read twice as fast in the book and do these remarkable things. But my idea for everybody here is there are no limits, that the sky's not the limits. It's our minds that are the limits, but we're not shown how to use it. School taught us what to learn and what to think, but not how to learn and how to think.
Right.
That's a book to be able to.
Great words. Great words. You're very inspirational. I think I feel a little inspired now. Go ahead and try something new. And it's interesting you bring up that point that we have knowledge at our hands right now. I know Harvard has 64 free courses out right now for free. And I mean, I signed up for a couple of them. So I might learn a couple. I might have some Harvard credits once I'm done out of quarantine. So Jim, really quick, so let's talk about what someone can do while they're stuck at home. I guess organizing their space, or things that they need to be as productive as possible.
Yeah, I think what's really important, I'll give you a 6C. We talked about the 5 C's. I think a 6C is getting consistency. I think when we're stuck at home, it's important to have structure. I believe first you create your habits, and then your habits create you. You create your habits of working out or eating well or meditation, whatever you do, and then those habits create you back. And so I have a video online about my morning routine that has over 10 million views alone. And these are the 10 things I do every morning to jumpstart my brain. And people could Google Jim Kwik morning routine, but some of the things that you could do for yourself to be able to activate your brain, little things like the first thing I do is I remember my dreams. Like, did you know that it's in our dream state that Mary Shelley came up with Frankenstein in her dream? Like Paul McCartney came up with the song Yesterday in his dream. You have these wonderful dreams, but you don't remember them. So there's techniques to be able to do that. Also, recommend everybody when you first start out is your brain loves a clean environment. Your external world is a reflection of your internal world. You ever clean out your desktop and all of a sudden you have clarity of thought?
Yes, absolutely.
So same thing with, I recommend everyone start their day by making their bed, because it's one of those small things you could do. It only takes 2 minutes, but it teaches you that how you do anything is how you do everything. You can make that bed with excellence, and you take excellence into your day. And it's very important. And then one more challenge for everybody who's watching. I challenge people to brush their teeth with the opposite hand, because what this does is by using your non-dominant hand, it actually stimulates the other side of your brain. And as your body moves, your brain grooves. They did this study in Oxford saying that jugglers have bigger brains. And people who tend to read faster, they tend to play musical instruments that requires both hands. But you know what it really does is it forces you to be present. Because the worst thing you could do first thing in the morning that will hijack your brain is touch your phone. And I know people don't want to hear this, but when you pick up your phone first thing in the morning, you're in this relaxed state. You just woke up. And if you're very suggestible, if you pick up your phone, number one, it rewires your brain for distraction. Meaning every like and share and comment, ring, ping, ding is training your distraction muscles. Then you wonder why you read a page in a book and just forgot what you just read. Or you can't have a conversation with someone without your attention fleeting. But the second thing it does is it rewires your brain not only for distraction, it rewires your brain for reaction. Meaning you're just reacting and on the defense. That you could get one social media message or a voicemail message, text message, and it could hijack your whole day and put you in a bad mood. And you don't want to react to things. You want to be able to see, you don't want to be a thermometer. The thermometer just reacts to the environment. You want to be a thermostat. A thermostat gauges the environment, but then it sets a temperature and the environment must comply. And
You're
you
really
really,
good at
that's leadership.
these. You're
So
really good at these.
be that thermostat.
I feel I'm gonna write this down. I'm gonna put it on the on my wall. I'm gonna get those quote things that you can stick on your wall.
You should do that.
Be a thermostat, not a thermometer. I love that. Thank you so much, Jim Kwik. Everybody, please go out and get. Well, you said it's sold out, but when it's not sold out,
actually limitlessbook.com, and we actually give you a 10-day course on speed reading and memory enhancement as our gift, because when I want this to be the most read book of 2020. A lot of people buy books and it sits on their shelf and it becomes shelf help, not self-help.
Right.
And that's a challenge. And so I actually, when you go to limitlessbook.com, I will gift you a free speed reading memory focus program with your order of the book. So then when the book arrives, you're ready to go through it and you're going to finish that book.
Yes, that's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Jim. We're all, I might have to go get the speed reading.
Can I challenge everyone to do something really quick?
Yes,
Real quick challenge. I challenge everyone to take a screenshot of our conversation right now and post it on social media, tag us both, and share just one thing you're going to do. Is it clarity? Is it care? Is it contribution? Is it your capabilities? Are you going to be more creative? Tag us both, and I'll repost some of our, we have a good like 1 million people on social, but I'll repost it, and I'll also gift one of your viewers in your community a free signed book.
Awesome, awesome. So go ahead and get this screenshot going. This is my picture. Okay.
There you go. Go like this. And I'm at Jim Kwik, Kwik. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Up next is our health and wellness segment brought to you by True Serenity Tea, true tea made simply for you. Today we have telemedicine and immunology expert, Dr. Tania Elliott. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
So how are you staying healthy while we're all stuck indoors? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm hanging in there. I actually have a daughter who just turned 1, and I have another baby on the way. So it's been challenging for me, both a medical professional and making sure that I'm available to my patients through telemedicine, and then also being a patient myself and trying to navigate this healthcare system, especially as a pregnant woman, sort of not knowing what to expect and how this disease impacts a pregnant person. So I'm wearing two and we're just doing our best to juggle everything.
So let's talk about telemedicine. Can you explain to our viewers what exactly it is, how they can go about doing a telemedicine, having a telemedicine situation set up with their doctors? How do we go about this?
Sure. So the good news is that the state and federal governments have loosened all regulations as it relates to getting doctors to interact with their patients through telemedicine. So just to define what telemedicine is, it is real-time audio-visual communication between a doctor and a patient when they're not physically in the same place. So the best way to think about it is having a FaceTime or a Skype with your doctor. And so previously it used to be that you have to use a specific HIPAA compliance software and certain technology platforms, and a lot of doctors' offices weren't set up for that. And then also on the insurance side, there wasn't proper reimbursement for doctors to be able to conduct visits this way. So now all that's gone away. You can FaceTime with your doctor, you can Skype with your doctor. And I've been doing telemedicine for about 7 or 8 years now and seen thousands of patients. And I can tell you that you can still provide high quality care through a video consultation between doctor and patient.
Awesome. So when it comes to being at home and stuck at home while we're doing all of this, what are some tips that people can use to stay healthy at home? And even for a pregnant woman, like you mentioned, for everybody, but we can focus on, just general health, and then we can definitely touch on pregnant women. I feel like I've seen so many women concerned now about being pregnant at home while, stuck during all this with the coronavirus.
Yeah, I could just start with, with pregnancy is just making sure that you're still keeping the essential appointments. So I just had my fetal anatomy ultrasound. So things like that are important. That's the one you're supposed to get at the 20-week mark. But there are other ones that are non-essential visits that where you don't need to physically go into the doctor's office for it. And that's a great use case for telemedicine. So I have a blood pressure cuff at home so I can check my blood pressure. So for pregnant women, high blood pressure or diabetes. Those are two things that are important to screen for, as well as checking your weight regularly. So I have a blood pressure cuff at home, and I would recommend for all patients to do that. Also getting a glucometer to check your finger sticks, your blood sugars, to screen yourself for diabetes, because previously that was a test that was done in the office. And then also just checking your weight regularly and making sure that you're gaining weight at the, at the appropriate schedule, and certainly not losing any weight. Outside of those sort of screenings for the pregnant person that I've been going through myself and having to sort of ad-lib a little bit on making sure I have those devices at home to get that objective information over to my doctor, it's really important to make sure that you keep routines. That's, if you have children in the home, making sure that they're doing their e-learning, and then also for yourself. So get dressed in the morning, put on your makeup, don't stay in your pajamas all day. Have set routines in terms of your meals and your snacks, and make sure that you have a separate work area that's separate from where you're eating your meals, that's separate from where you're sleeping. Please don't do work in your bedroom. And then starting and stopping your day at the same time. I also encourage people to go out and take a walk and have that sort of emulate what your morning commute looks like. So instead of getting in your car and driving, you go outside, you take a 15-minute walk, and then you can come back inside and start your day. So try to simulate what it's like to do a morning commute. So things like that, just to make sure that you keep your routine. That's really how you can stay healthy.
Yeah, I definitely think that routines are very important. I know that in the beginning of all this, I would stay in my bed all day, and that was not a good idea. But I've gotten better with my routines on a daily basis. So for those, and I think this is a concern as well, for those who have had sicknesses or other chronic diseases before COVID-19 came out, how do we continue to keep those people healthy? What steps should they take? Because they might be concerned that, they might be overlooked when it comes to their sickness, or they might not be able to get the medicines that they need. So what advice do you have for them?
Yeah, I was just reading a statistics today that almost 80% of outpatient doctor visits have been canceled or rescheduled. That's really scary, because we know we have people who have chronic diseases, and we know that people with chronic diseases are at higher risk for developing coronavirus. So it's really important to still maintain contact with your doctor, and that's where the telemedicine comes into play. Doctors' offices now across the country are offering it. So if you had an appointment, instead of just canceling it or rescheduling it, make the phone call, get connected with your doctor. You could either do a video visit with them or talk to them over the phone. Check in with them on your symptoms. As I mentioned, if you have diabetes or high blood pressure, have the glucometer at home, have a blood pressure cuff at home. It's important to get that objective information and provide that to your doctor. And then make sure that you have a supply of your medication. So connecting with your pharmacist, making sure that you have enough refills, asking your doctor for refills. I recommend that patients have at least a 2-month supply of their chronic medications during this period of time, because we don't know when you'll be able to get back in to see the doctor in person.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Elliott, for your insight. I hope our viewers were able to take something away from that. Get up, do your routines. If you have to get your medicine, that's very important as well. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. The one other thing I'll say is I want to give some shout outs to local pharmacies that are offering delivery services, places like GNC also that are doing curbside pickup so people can get vitamins, supplements, doing the best to sort of fill in those gaps. And, so kudos to all of those businesses out there that have quickly transferred over to offering delivery services to bring the appropriate medications and other things people need for their health into their home.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you to honestly all of our essential workers, but
everybody
make a big difference for people who have some medical issues or need their medicines. So thank you so much, Dr. Elliott.
All right, thanks for having me.
Up next, we have entrepreneur and beauty expert, Yris Palmer. Welcome, Yris.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Hello. So Yris, let's just talk about some of the business work that you've done. So let's talk about your company, your beauty company.
Star Lash. So I started Star Lash as like a side hustle. I was actually pursuing acting, and I didn't want to be like the struggling actress without a job. I've always had a job since I was 15, and I was in London, and I noticed that everybody had these lash extensions. And at the time, I couldn't think of anybody like back home, back in LA, that either was doing the service or was getting lash extensions. So I thought, let me, you know, do this as like a side hustle. I can make up my own hours, you know, still pursue what I want to pursue. And my side hustle became my main hustle. And, you know, it became my business. And I've been doing that for the last 6 years.
I love that. I love that. So you do have some impressive celebrity clients. How are you able to seek those clients out and get them to trust you with, you know, their lashes?
Honestly, it was all Instagram. I was very consistent with my content. I was posting a lot of before and afters. And then my first celebrity client was Christina Milian, and she was actually liking my pictures on Instagram, my work. And then I sent her a message, and I said, I would love to do your lashes. She said, yeah, let's set it up. And then shortly after I did her lashes, she posted me on Instagram. And then I got Selena Gomez, and then, you know, and then it all started for me. And it was literally like a domino effect. And, you know, I feel like it's like that in Hollywood. I feel like everybody wants to try you. But luckily for me, they stuck around and I became like their lash person. So, you know, I built a loyal clientele, an elite loyal clientele.
I love that. I love that. So, you know, times are pretty hard right now, especially for businesses that need, you know, in-person situations. So how is your business adjusting to this new climate? And do you have any tips for other business owners that might be going through the same type of situation?
You know, I feel like it's definitely a scary time for my business, for all small businesses. But, you know, this time has definitely taught me the importance of digital communication. I feel like right now I am trying to reach my customers and my audience through the only way that we are able to, and that is through the internet. So I feel like this is a time for, you know, business owners to tap into, you know, or explore other creative options. Like I usually teach a one-on-one in-person class. I'm now, you know, figuring out how I can teach a one-on-one virtual class. And I think it's just about, you know, really just trying to figure out like how can we, you know, stay relevant in this time right now. And also I feel like, you know, we do have downtime right now. So now would be the time to reorganize your business plan, your business structure. So when we are able to go back to work, we are, you know, ready.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So as a business owner, you know, you are a mother to a 3-year-old. How is it like being at home all day with her and, you know, homeschooling and juggling a business? How have you been doing it?
I have locked doors, so I lock the door. So for all you parents out there, lock the door when you have meetings and stuff like that. But you know, it's definitely a challenge, but I definitely also enjoy it because normally I don't have this downtime. So, you know, I've also enjoyed being with her a lot, definitely playing, you know, teacher, mommy. I'm a chef now, never used to cook before. So definitely tapping into, you know, other roles.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's talk about your new lash clusters. You just launched them recently and your strip lashes sold out within 24 hours. Why do you think people are still buying beauty products while they're home all day? I mean, I do. I buy beauty products, but why do you think people are still doing it?
Okay. I feel like a lot of people for beauty, you know, and self-care, for some people it might be superficial. For other people, it's essential. And it's like, for me personally, if I look good, I feel good. My mental, you know, state is in a better place. So I feel like we've been stripped from getting our hair done, getting our nails done, getting our lashes done. So the next thing to lash extensions would be a strip lash. So, you know, it's the alternative. And like I was going crazy with my nails yesterday. I went to Target and I got these press-ons because I was like, I just can't.
They're cute.
I can't look at my nails like this anymore. And, you know, I feel like that's what people are looking for right now. People are looking for an alternative. And you know, beauty is the one industry that people will spend their last money on. We want to look good. And, you know, it doesn't matter if, you know, we're stuck in quarantine. Like, I want to look good for myself, for my man, for, you know, I want to look good. I want to feel good.
Yes. Yes. Same. The other day, I remember I was, it was like the first week that we were in quarantine. Let me tell you, I was not looking like my best.
Me neither. I was in pajamas all day. I was like, I gotta get it together.
Yes, I did the same thing. The next week, I was like, nope, I'm putting this wig on. I'm gonna go and do my makeup. I'm gonna look good to sit in this house. So yes, Iris, I do agree. People do feel better once they feel better once they look better. So
Yeah,
I
exactly.
definitely do agree with you. I might have to check out some of those lash clusters because my one good pair of lashes, they've been worn out at this point.
Oh yeah, I got you. I got you. You'll love them.
All right, thank you so much, Iris, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me and for speaking to you today.
Of course, of course. We know you guys are at home snacking and probably sneaking a drink or two. So up next, Melissa Tavss from Tipsy Scoop is here to show us how to make Tipsy Scoop ice cream using 4 Roses bourbon. Check it out.
Hi Bold TV, I'm Melissa. I'm the founder of Tipsy Scoop Ice Cream, and today I'm going to be making a strawberry rhubarb bourbon ice cream infused with 4 Roses bourbon from our new cookbook, Tipsy Scoop Latest and Greatest Recipes. So first we're going to start with our ice cream mix base. This is the ice cream mix that you'll use for any of your boozy ice creams that have a vanilla base. So we have our eggs. We're going to be using 8 egg yolks. We have whole milk. We'll be using a 1.5 cups of that, a 1.5 cups of cream, 1/3 a cup of sugar. And then we're going to scald that mixture and put it in the fridge. So we just took the ice cream out of the ice cream maker. You'll notice it's more of a gelato, a little bit of a softer consistency. So we're gonna put this in the freezer for about 6 to 8 hours before plating and scooping it. So our strawberry rhubarb bourbon ice cream has been in the freezer for about 6 hours. So it's nice and frozen now. Our ice cream is still a little bit on the softer side, but you'll be able to get a nice scoop out of it. Alright, Bold TV, moment of truth. I'm going to now sample our strawberry rhubarb bourbon ice cream. Put a few sprinkles on here for garnish, of course. Wow, really good, really boozy. Definitely taste the 4 Roses bourbon coming through. Might be a little too early for me for this, but happy hour later. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. It was so fun making boozy ice cream with you. And if you have any questions at all about how to make Tipsy Scoop at home, feel free to email us, DM us, anything. We can't wait to see what you guys come up with.
Bold correspondents Justin Crawford and Oni Higgins have decided to show us a little bit of what it's like in the quarantine world, outside and inside. Please check this out.
Hey Zayna and everybody watching, I just wanted to give you all a quick update as to what the streets of New York City now look like that the COVID-19 pandemic has fully taken over. We're definitely living our lives and doing things a lot differently. As you can see, it's very evident that the streets have went from hundreds to millions of people a day to now just so many, like these guys here, out to just get food, essentials, and really probably just a breath of fresh air, some exercise. But this is what it's been looking like every single day. Even grabbing something as simple as a coffee now looks very different to all of us, where we are now standing about 6 feet apart from those in front of or behind at the stores that are still open here in New York. Now, as you guys have seen, New York City looks very different, and I just wanted to give you a little glimpse from the street side as to how things have changed for all of us and the ways that we go about our lives in the city. Before I send it over to Oni Higgins to see what she's been up to at the house, I wanted to let you guys know that we're doing an Instagram TV series with all of your favorite stars and lifestyle experts still, to see what they've been up to during the quarantine and also get some tips and advice on how we can all survive through this together. Oni, over to you, and I'll talk to you guys soon. See you later.
Well, thanks, Justin. I think it's a little bit unimaginable to see what the streets of NYC look like. This is the city that never sleeps. So while you showed us what's going on outdoors, for me, quarantine indoors have been, well, let's just say quite interesting.
Okay, I'm bored in the house and I'm in the house, bored. Bored in the house and I'm in the house, bored.
Always eating. I go to the refrigerator at least 5 times a day.
Bored, I'm bored. Bored in the house, bored in the house, bored. Bored in the house, bored in the house, bored. Bored in the house, bored in the house, bored. Bored in the house, bored in the house, bored. I'm bored. I'm bored in the house and I'm in the house, bored. Bored in the house and I'm in the house, bored. In the house, bored. I'm bored. I'm bored.
Well, thanks for watching what a typical day like for me and my family is like while we're on quarantine. Now, here at Bold, we're wishing you guys a lot of safety. Make sure that you wash those hands and stay safe indoors. Zayna, back to you.
Our next guest is the co-founder of record label Partisan Records and Talkhouse, a media outlet for musicians, actors, and filmmakers. Please welcome Ian Wheeler.
Hey, how's it going?
So Ian, we're gonna have a nice chat about your New York Times op-ed, Shakespeare Survived Quarantine with a little help from his patrons. So can you tell us a little bit about your stance on how creatives are getting through being quarantined and staying inside?
Sure. I mean, I think like all of us, they're coping in different ways. I think artists tend to be naturally pretty empathetic people. And so I've seen just a huge amount of the artist community reaching out to see how they can help and what they can do. I think for some people that's just going on Instagram Live and playing some songs. I think for other artists, it's trying to actually raise money for different funds that are supporting artists, touring personnel, restaurant staff, venue staff. I've even seen artists try and contribute towards production of PPE and masks and things like that. So I think for every artist it's different. But yeah, I know that community is being hit, our community is being hit especially hard because it's pretty clear they're not going to be concerts for a while. Mm-hmm.
And in your article, you sort of made it a little clear that you think that this might be we have this high expectation to create while we're in here. How do you feel that takes a toll on creatives, musicians, actors, filmmakers, whomever, journalists like myself? It could take a toll because we now have so much weight on our shoulders, right?
That's right. And I think you make a great point about journalists. I would put them in the same box. When bad things happen, we look to people like artists and journalists to create things that make us feel better, reassure us. That puts a lot of pressure on those folks and that community. I think for artists specifically, prior to this COVID crisis, there was a mental health crisis in the arts community. There has been for a while. I think it's also has to do with, our healthcare system in the United States. And, we need to do a better job taking care of our people. I think that's a nonpartisan statement. And it's not political. I think we're just at a place as a country where we need to do a better job of taking care of each other. So the arts community was already kind of dealing with this mental health issue. And I think, you know, when bad things happen, we turn to artists to create the things that make us feel better. That puts a lot of pressure on them. And so I think they're in a pretty precarious place. And I think too, they also don't necessarily know where their income's gonna come from or if it's gonna come in the next several months. So I think that's a pretty terrifying thing as well.
Speaking of the income situation, how do you feel that we are, you know, being supported during all of this? I think, and personally, I think that a lot of people are overlooking the creative community when it comes to support financially, mostly financially. I think a lot of people, you know, they want to support, you know, the essential workers, which are, you know, very important. Essential workers are very important. Then they talk about those who lost their jobs or have to work from home. But I think the creative community, those who had several part-time jobs, because, you know, it's hard being a creative. You don't always have one steady form of income. You have several part-time jobs that probably weren't essential. So you ended up getting, you know, getting laid off. How do you feel that that support, what that support is it great? Is it, could it work? Could it get better?
Yeah, so I think it can definitely get better. I mean, I think, you know, I think from a consumer standpoint, from all of us who listen to music or watch TV or you know, consume art in any form, you know, it's a good time to think about how we can be more supportive. You know, I think most of us probably pay $12 a month to Spotify, and we pay $10 a month here for Hulu, whatever that is. You know, I think we should start thinking about ways to give money directly to artists as well, buying merchandise from them. You know, a lot of them have Patreon accounts, which I think is a great service. You know, if you're a real fan of that artist, you can get some extra content and some added value, you know, just by paying a few dollars a month to your favorite artist. So I think, you know, in general, we need to rethink the way we're supporting the artist community, and you know, we're taking a lot from them and we're getting a lot out of them. There's songs that I listen to every single day, and they help me in one way or another, whether it's working out or waking up, whatever that is. And so I think a lot about, am I, you know, compensating the creators of this stuff well enough? You know, because I sure am using it a lot. So I think that's something kind of, you know, we can all do. As far as, you know, how we kind of prioritize where we're directing funds right now, I think that's really tough. And you know, you're right. It is really important that we're supporting the people on the front lines right now as much as possible. You know, I think the next phase will see us having to make some hard decisions and think pretty hard about, you know, where support needs to go next. You know, for artists, I think the thing that's tough is most of them don't have health insurance. You know, they don't have steady paychecks. You know, they don't have these benefits that come along with a lot of other steady gigs. So I think they're in a pretty unique situation along with a lot of other freelance professionals.
So how do you feel what the best way would be to go about supporting artists during this time? You know, a lot of us, I would consider myself, I do a lot more other than this, I would consider myself somewhat of an artist as well. How do we get support through all of this?
So I think the best thing fans can do right now, you know, tweet at your favorite artists and ask them, you know, what you can do. For some artists, it's different. You know, some do have those Patreon accounts where they try and get people to go and subscribe and pay a small monthly fee for some extra exclusive content. Other artists, you know, they have merch sitting on hand that they want to sell and ship to you. It really varies by artists, you know, what their preferences are. Some artists I've even seen posting links to their Venmo accounts, which I think is totally fine. You know, and I can think of any number of artists who, if they did that in a minute, I would be sending them money, and some I already have. So I think, you know, the best thing we can do is ask the artist directly. And thankfully, we do have social media as a means to communicate with that community and you know, go directly to them and ask them how our support is most useful for them.
Awesome. So Thank you so much, Ian, for your input. I think that a lot of people should go out and support even their local creatives, people, that they know that they support, that they have a good, relationship with, or somebody that they, are just fans of. They might not even have made it super far yet, but everybody's struggling right now. So I think that your input is very important for those who maybe have overlooked the people in the creative community. So thank you so much, Ian.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for covering this. It really means a lot to the community.
Of course. And that's the end of today's show. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Get our Amazon Fire TV app, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Stay home, wash your hands, and stay tuned for more Bold Life in 2 weeks. See you guys.